You are being robbed every single day, and you probably paid for the privilege. I want you to think about the last time you bought something because of the logo on it. Maybe it was a pair of sneakers, a handbag, a belt, a watch, a hoodie with 2 letters on the chest. Whatever it was, you paid extra for that logo, and I'm here to tell you that the logo is the product, not the quality, not the craftsmanship. The logo, and that one decision, that one habit, might be quietly one of the biggest reasons you're not building real wealth. Let's talk about what designer brands actually are, how they make money, and why the people buying them are almost never the ones getting rich from them. First, let's define what we're talking about. I'm not just talking about luxury. I'm talking about any brand where a significant portion of the price is the name. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Balenciaga, but also Nike, Supreme, Off-White, even certain car brands. If you're paying a premium and the main reason is the label, you're in this conversation. Now here's the thing most people don't understand. These brands are not selling you a product. They are selling you an identity. They are selling you belonging. They are selling you the feeling of status. And they are extremely, extremely good at it. Designer brands spend billions of dollars a year making sure that when you see their logo, you feel something. You feel aspirational. You feel like wearing their product means you've made it, or that you're on your way to making it. They hire celebrities, athletes, and influencers to wear their stuff. They create artificial scarcity with limited drops. They raise prices every year, not because the cost of production went up, but because a higher price makes it feel more exclusive. And it works. It works on all of us to some degree. That's not an insult, it's biology. Human beings are social creatures. We care about status. We've always cared about status. For most of human history, what you wore signaled your tribe, your rank, your power. Designer brands have taken that ancient instinct and turned it into a trillion-dollar industry. But here's where it gets dangerous. Because the people who can most afford these brands, they're usually not the ones buying them to show them off. And the people who can least afford them, they're often the most likely to stretch their budget to get them. There's actually research on this. Studies have shown that in lower to middle income households, a higher percentage of income is spent on visible luxury goods compared to wealthier households. Why? Because when you already have real wealth, you don't need to signal it with a logo. Your net worth speaks for itself. But when you're still building, when you want people to think you're doing well, the logo becomes a shortcut. A way of saying, look at me, I'm successful, without actually having built the financial foundation. And that gap, that difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy, is exactly where designer brands profit. Let me give you some real numbers. A standard Louis Vuitton monogram bag starts around $1,500 and goes up to several thousand. The estimated cost of materials and production, experts peg it at somewhere between $50 and $200, depending on the item. The rest is brand, marketing, and margin. You are paying for the logo. Full stop. A pair of Nike Air Force Ones retails for $90 to $110. They cost Nike roughly $16 to make. When you buy the limited collab edition for $350, the production cost barely changed. The markup doubled because hype is free money for them. Supreme has released blank white t-shirts, literally blank, no design, for $44. People waited in line for them. Why? Because the tag says Supreme. That's it. Now let's address something you've probably heard, the idea that luxury goods are investments, that a Birkin bag holds value, or that limited sneakers appreciate. And sure, some do. But here's the reality check nobody gives you. To actually profit from a designer item appreciating in value, you need to buy the right item in the right condition, store it properly, find the right buyer at the right time, and pay taxes on your gain. That is not an investment strategy. That is a hobby with extra steps. And for every person who flipped a pair of Jordans for twice the price, there are 1,000 people who bought something expensive, wore it twice, and sold it for 60 cents on the dollar. Don't let the highlight reel fool you. Sneakers are not retirement accounts. Now let's make this concrete with a side-by-side comparison because the numbers tell a story that marketing never will. Let's take a $3,000 Louis Vuitton bag. That's a realistic entry point for a mid-range luxury piece. You buy it, you carry it, and 5 years later, it's worth somewhere between $800 and $1,200 on the resale market, and that's if it's in good condition. You've lost between $1,800 and $2,200 just in depreciation. That doesn't count what you could have done with the money. Now take that same $3,000 and put it in an S&P 500 index fund. At a 10% average annual return, the historical average, after 5 years, that $3,000 becomes $4,831. That's a gain of over $1,800. So the full picture is this. You either end up with a bag worth $1,200 or an investment worth $4,800. That's a $3,600 swing from one decision, on one bag. And if we're talking about a higher-end purchase, say an $8,000 Chanel Classic flap, which is considered entry-level luxury in that world, the math gets even sharper. At 10% annually over 5 years, that $8,000 becomes nearly $12,900. The bag, in 5 years, resells for maybe $4,000 to $5,000. The difference? Nearly $8,000. Gone. I'm not making these numbers up. This is compound interest versus compound depreciation, and most people have been taught to think about the first number, the price tag, without ever running the second one. I'm not saying you can never buy something nice. I'm not telling you to only wear Walmart. What I'm saying is you need to understand what you're actually buying and ask yourself whether that purchase is moving you forward or holding you back. Because here's the real math. Let's say you spend $300 a month on brand name clothing, sneakers, and accessories, more than you would on comparable quality without the logo. That's $3,600 a year. Over 10 years, if that money had been invested in an index fund, averaging a 10% return, you'd have around $57,000. From one habit. 1. Now compound that across a lifetime. The person who builds the habit of buying quietly and investing the difference doesn't just end up with more money. They end up with real wealth, generational wealth. The kind where you don't need to tell people you have it. There's a concept called stealth wealth, and it's fascinating. Studies of actual high net worth individuals, people with $1 million or more in investable assets, show that the majority of them drive regular cars, wear average clothes, and live in normal neighborhoods. Not because they're cheap, because they've figured out that money spent on looking rich is money not spent on becoming rich. The wealthiest people I've ever talked to. You'd never know from looking at them. That's on purpose. Now let's talk about social media's role in all of this, because you cannot have this conversation without it. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have supercharged the designer brand trap in a way that no previous generation had to deal with. Every day you open those apps, you are shown a curated feed of people flexing. Unboxings, hauls, outfit checks, brand partnerships, and the algorithm rewards the flex. The more aspirational the content, the more engagement it drives, the more it gets pushed to your screen. What you don't see is the credit card debt behind that haul. You don't see the person who bought $3,000 worth of streetwear on a buy now, pay later plan at 30% interest. You don't see the influencer who gets those bags gifted for free and then asks you, with a straight face, to buy them yourself. Social media has created an arms race of visible consumption, and the losers are the people funding it with money they haven't earned yet. When you borrow to buy things that depreciate, you are paying tomorrow's money for yesterday's status. That is the exact opposite of building wealth. Now let's talk about the trap more specifically, because it's not just about the money you spend in the moment. Designer brand buying is habit-forming in a way that's uniquely damaging to wealth building. The dopamine hit of a new drop. The social media flex. The reactions from people when you show up in the outfit. These are real psychological rewards that reinforce the behavior. Your brain learns that spending equals status equals good feeling. And the next time you have money, the pull is even stronger. Meanwhile, putting $500 into a Roth IRA doesn't give you that hit. There's no reaction, no likes. No one sees your brokerage account balance when you walk into a room. Wealth building is invisible, it's quiet. And for a lot of people, quiet doesn't feel like winning. That's why so many people are broke in expensive clothes. And brands know this. They've spent decades engineering this cycle. They create new seasons, new drops, new collabs specifically to make last year's purchase feel outdated. They've turned a natural human desire for connection and status into a machine that extracts money from people who can't afford to keep feeding it. So what do you actually do about it? First, do the math every time before you buy. Not the price tag, the opportunity cost. What would this money be worth in 10 years if I invested it instead? When you internalize that $300 sneakers are actually $1,000 at a 10% return over 10 years, the decision changes. Second, separate quality from brand. There are genuinely high-quality products out there that cost a fraction of designer prices. You can absolutely buy good things, but buy them because they last, because they're comfortable, because they're functional, not because of the name on the label. Quality is real. Logo markup is optional. Third, audit your motivations. Be honest with yourself. Who are you buying this for? If the answer is, so that other people see me in it, that's worth examining. You are spending real money to manage other people's perceptions of you. That is a very expensive game with no finish line. Fourth, redirect the flex. If you want to show people you're doing well, there's no better signal than your investments. Talk about your Roth IRA. Talk about the property you're saving for. I know it doesn't feel as good in the moment, but the people in your life who are actually going somewhere will respect it. And the ones who only respond to logos, those are not the people whose approval you need. Fifth, and this is the one most people skip, build an identity that doesn't need external validation. This is the hardest one and the most important one. Designer brands sell you an identity because most people haven't built one. When you know who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going financially, you don't need a logo to prove it. The confidence comes from the inside, from the net worth statement, from the retirement account, from knowing that while everyone else was performing wealth, you were building it. Look, I'm not here to shame you for buying something you love. If you can truly afford it, if it genuinely brings you joy, and your financial foundation is solid, retirement accounts maxed, emergency fund funded, no high-interest debt, then buy the bag. Have fun. You've earned it. But if your retirement account is empty, your credit cards are carrying a balance, you don't have a real emergency fund, and you're buying designer goods to feel like you're doing well, that's the trap. And it's exactly what these companies designed for you to fall into. Real wealth is built quietly. It doesn't wear logos. It doesn't need to. The richest person in the room isn't the one with the most visible flex. It's the one you'd never guess. Be that person. If this hit home, hit like and subscribe to fuel your wealth. New videos every week on building real money, not just looking like you have it. And if you know someone stuck in this cycle, share this with them. It might be the video that changes how they think about money. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research.